In the grand symphony of life on Earth, pollinators play a crucial yet often overlooked role. They are the unseen workers behind the scenes, ensuring that plants grow, flowers bloom, and fruits form. These small creatures, bees, butterflies, birds, bats, and even some small mammals and insects, are the silent heroes of nature, responsible for one of the most essential processes in our ecosystem, pollination. To truly understand the importance of pollinators, let's start by imagining a world without them. Picture walking through a forest devoid of vibrant flowers, a garden missing the hum of bees, or a field barren of crops that once provided food for humans and animals alike. Without pollinators, the reproduction of many plants would cease. Pollination is the process that allows plants to reproduce, grow, and sustain life, creating the fruits, seeds, and flowers that are essential to ecosystems and the animals, including humans, who rely on them for survival. Pollination occurs when pollen, the fine powdery substance produced by the male parts of a flower, is transferred to the female parts, enabling fertilization. This process may seem simple, but it's a complex interaction between plants and pollinators that has evolved over millions of years. While some plants can self-pollinate or rely on the wind to carry their pollen, the majority depend on pollinators to do the job for them. These animals travel from flower to flower in search of food, typically nectar or pollen itself, and, in doing so, they inadvertently carry pollen with them. This seemingly small action sparks a chain reaction that supports entire ecosystems. Bees are often the first creatures that come to mind when we think of pollination, and for a good reason. They are among the most efficient and important pollinators on the planet. There are over 20,000 species of bees, ranging from the familiar honeybee to solitary bees that live in small nests rather than colonies. When bees land on a flower, they use their specialized body structures, such as hairy legs and bodies, to collect pollen. As they move from one flower to another, some of this pollen rubs off, fertilizing the plants and enabling them to produce seeds and fruits. Bees' relationship with plants is a perfect example of mutualism, a relationship in which both parties benefit. The bees gather nectar to make honey, which serves as food for their colonies, while the plants rely on the bees to reproduce. It's a win-win situation that has existed for millennia. However, bees are not the only pollinators doing this critical work. Butterflies, with their delicate wings and graceful flight, are another group of pollinators. They are attracted to brightly colored flowers, especially those that are red, orange, or pink. As they drink nectar through their long, straw-like proboscis, they too transport pollen from flower to flower. While butterflies may not be as efficient at pollination as bees, they contribute significantly to the process, especially in the case of plants that are adapted to butterfly pollination. Birds, particularly hummingbirds, are also key players in pollination. Hummingbirds are attracted to tubular flowers, where they can use their long beaks to reach deep into the flower for nectar. In doing so, they pick up pollen on their heads and bodies, transferring it to other flowers as they flit from one to the next. Hummingbirds are vital to the pollination of many species of flowering plants, especially in the Americas. Bats, though often associated with darkness and caves, are nighttime pollinators that play an essential role in tropical and desert ecosystems. Certain species of bats, known as nectar-feeding bats, are drawn to large, pale-colored flowers that open at night. These flowers rely on bats for pollination because they are too large or too deep for smaller creatures like insects to access. As bats feed on the nectar, they inadvertently pick up pollen on their faces and fur, helping to fertilize plants such as agave, which is used to make tequila, and various types of cacti. Even creatures as small as ants, beetles, and flies can contribute to pollination. Though they may not be as specialized as bees or butterflies, they still play a role in the process, particularly in certain environments where larger pollinators are less common. In some cases, plants have evolved to rely on specific insects, developing features such as strong scents or brightly colored petals to attract them. The relationship between pollinators and plants is intricate, and in some cases, it is highly specialized. Some plants have evolved to be pollinated by only one species, forming a close and dependent bond. One of the most famous examples of this is the relationship between the yucca plant and the yucca moth. The moth collects pollen from the yucca flower and lays its eggs inside the flower's ovary. The larvae feed on some of the developing seeds, but enough seeds remain to ensure the plant's reproduction. This delicate balance is an example of coevolution, where two species evolve together in response to each other's needs. In addition to their role in the reproduction of wild plants, pollinators are crucial to agriculture. They are responsible for pollinating a vast array of crops that provide food for humans, from fruits and vegetables to nuts and seeds. In fact, it is estimated that 1 out of every 3 bites of food we eat is made possible by pollinators. Crops such as apples, almonds, strawberries, and tomatoes all depend on pollinators to thrive. Without them, these foods would become much scarcer, leading to higher prices and a less diverse food supply. Pollinators also contribute to the health of ecosystems by supporting the plants that form the foundation of food chains. Plants provide food and shelter for a wide range of animals, from herbivores that feed on leaves and seeds to predators that rely on those herbivores for sustenance. By ensuring that plants can reproduce, pollinators help maintain the balance of ecosystems, supporting biodiversity at all levels. Despite their importance, pollinators are facing significant threats around the world. Habitat loss, caused by deforestation, urbanization, and agricultural expansion, is one of the primary challenges pollinators face. As natural habitats are destroyed or fragmented, pollinators lose access to the diverse array of plants they need for food and nesting sites. This is particularly problematic for species that have specialized relationships with certain plants, as the loss of these plants can lead to the decline of their pollinators. Pesticide use is another major threat to pollinators, particularly bees. Many pesticides, especially those used in industrial agriculture, are toxic to pollinators and can kill them outright or impair their ability to forage and reproduce. Neonicotinoids, a class of pesticides commonly used on crops, have been shown to be particularly harmful to bees. When pollinators are exposed to these chemicals, they may become disoriented and unable to return to their hives, leading to colony collapse. Climate change is also having a profound impact on pollinators. As temperatures rise and weather patterns become more unpredictable, the timing of plant flowering and pollinator activity can become mismatched. For example, if a plant blooms earlier than usual due to warmer temperatures, its pollinators may not be active yet, leading to a failure in pollination. Additionally, extreme weather events, such as droughts and storms, can destroy pollinator habitats and reduce the availability of food. In recent years, the decline of pollinators, particularly bees, has garnered global attention. The phenomenon known as colony collapse disorder, CCD, has caused significant losses in honeybee populations, particularly in North America and Europe. In CCD, adult worker bees disappear from the hive, leaving behind the queen and immature bees. The exact cause of CCD is still not fully understood, but it is believed to be the result of multiple factors, including pesticide exposure, habitat loss, disease, and parasites. The decline of pollinators is not just an ecological issue, it is also an economic one. Pollinators contribute billions of dollars to the global economy through their role in agriculture. Without them, farmers would have to rely on costly alternatives, such as manual pollination, to ensure their crops are fertilized. In some parts of the world, this is already happening. In areas of China, for example, where bee populations have been severely depleted, farmers are forced to hand-pollinate their apple and pear trees using brushes. Fortunately, efforts are being made to protect and conserve pollinators. Governments, environmental organizations, and farmers are working together to create pollinator-friendly environments. One of the most effective ways to support pollinators is to preserve and restore their habitats. Planting wildflowers, shrubs, and trees that provide nectar and pollen can create valuable food sources for pollinators. Protecting natural areas such as forests, meadows, and wetlands also ensures that pollinators have access to diverse and healthy ecosystems. In agricultural settings, adopting pollinator-friendly farming practices can make a significant difference. Reducing the use of harmful pesticides and opting for organic farming methods can help protect pollinators from chemical exposure. Additionally, planting cover crops and maintaining hedgerows and wildflower borders around fields can provide pollinators with food and shelter. Urban areas, too, can become havens for pollinators. Cities and towns are increasingly recognizing the importance of green spaces, such as parks, gardens, and rooftop gardens, as habitats for pollinators. Even small actions, like planting a pollinator garden in your backyard or installing a bee hotel, can contribute to the survival of these vital creatures. Education and awareness are also key components of pollinator conservation. By learning about the role of pollinators in nature and understanding the challenges they face, people can take action to protect them. Schools, community groups, and environmental organizations are working to raise awareness about the importance of pollinators and encourage individuals to become involved in conservation efforts. As we continue to explore the wonders of the natural world, it becomes clear that pollinators are essential to life on Earth. They are the tiny, tireless workers that keep our ecosystems functioning and our food systems thriving. Without them, the world would be a very different place, one with fewer flowers, fewer fruits, and fewer opportunities for life to flourish. In many ways, pollinators are a symbol of the interconnectedness of life. Their work may go unnoticed by most, but the impact they have is profound. As we move forward in our efforts to protect the environment and create a more sustainable future, it is essential that we recognize and protect the vital role that pollinators play in maintaining the balance of nature.